Hi and welcome back. So on today's video I'm going to cover installing an automated electric blind onto a Velux window. The windows that we have here already have a mains powered motor to open and close the window through a remote control linked eventually to our home automation system. If you've got a standard window today that isn't automatic, you can add, I think, a solar powered, or you can get power to a mains powered motor as a slot-in upgrade. But these windows came from the factory fitted with electric activation. So we're fitting the Velux Integra motorised blind to that. The instructions are fairly clear for this, but like a lot of companies these days, rather than instructions, it's a series of photographs so they can produce a single manual that works across all languages. But I find sometimes these are not quite as clear as they could be. This one, as I say, is relatively simple, but I'll go through that process, show you how easy it is to fit one of these blinds. So let's take a look at what we get in the box. So I guess the first thing before you open the box is just to check that it is the right size for your window. So it tells you the window type. I think my one is GGL, and then the size Pico 8. Because once you open these, it'd be a difficult one to close. So it's one of these ones with a tape that opens the box and see what we got inside. So we've got the main motor unit. As I think I may have said, this is a rack and pinion setup. So the top of the motor stays fixed to the window. The motor and the roller have a pinion that drive it down the rails on either side. You should probably see these are the rails that clip to the side of the window, so they have a rack along the full length to give positive movement. And then just a few little accessories that we get in here. So there's the remote control if you plan to use that. We're going to be using Somfy Tahoma and hopefully linked into Loxone later. A few screws just to secure these rails into the window, so you can see there's just some countersunk holes in there. And a Torx screwdriver, so you don't actually need any tools to fit these at all. And these are a couple of little jigs to the clips that go at the bottom of the window with some bits that snap off to show you how to space those correctly to clip those to the window. So, you know, relatively simple set of equipment, so just make sure you've got the right size before you open the box. And a really relatively simple install. So I'm lucky enough in my situation here actually to have a platform on site because we've just been painting this room. What you've got to consider when you're going to be working on the window and getting a ladder up there is we need to unlock it and swing it around about 180 degrees to get access to some of the cabling at the beginning and the end of the installation. So just consider that, how you can work safely if the window's high up, as it is in this situation. So we've got a centre hinged window in this installation, and the first thing we need to do is disconnect the 24 volt power supply. Check that it's disconnected. This takes the power from a transformer somewhere in the head of the unit up to the blind, and obviously we don't want that connected and potentially the motor trying to activate while we're doing the installation. I've had some windows where that cable isn't connected and somewhere it is. So open the window, we just pull on the latch here, and this is normally in the cleaning position. You can just see at the top in the center there, that's actually the motor, and the little gray tag is the thing that pulls the chain up and down. So that's the bit that you can fit as a retrofit if you don't already have an electric window. And if we look up on this side, we can just see as we get up to the cleaning position, I think somewhere up there is a sticker that says 24 volts. So we need to be careful and get out of the window and just double check up on the inside here. There's a cable that connects into a little socket down at the bottom there with the 24 volts. So in this situation here, that's already disconnected, so I don't need to worry about doing anything with that. But once we've installed the blind, we'll put that back into place. So we'll shut the window now, ready to do the installation of the blind, and lock that shut. And the motor at the top is going to connect onto these lugs. On the left hand side, we just need to take a little cover off there, and you can see that that's got the contacts to supply the power to the blind unit once we've installed it. So once we've made sure that the 24 volts power supply is disconnected at the top, we just need to fit the motor rail in the top here. So there's a little cover that comes off just on one side to reveal the power contacts for the motor. And then the motor's packed with a little bit of polystyrene packing. We mustn't take those red clips off yet. Those come on when we fit the guide rails so that we don't end up with all of the blind unravelling. And as I said, the racks go on the side, and we have a pinion on the motor here which will drag the motor and the blind roller all the way down the blind and the window, sorry. So we simply push that up onto these clips at the top of the window. Nice positive click to fit that, so that's fitted. Next thing we do is fit the clips at the bottom of the window, ready so that we can just slot the glide rails up into that point there. So these are the couple of little clips that come in there for to mount those side guide rails in. They're printed left and right on the rear, so they separate in half. And I've got the left one here, comes with a little wood screw. And the bottom tab here is just to get the spacing of that in there correctly. So I'll try and do that in such a way that you can see it, so it gets just spaced up into the window there. It comes with this little Torx driver, as I think I mentioned. Just make sure that's in snugly. So that pops into there nicely. And once we've fitted that, we just snap that little tab off at the bottom there, and that will allow the rail to slot in there nicely. So hopefully you can see on here there's just a little lip. This is the leading edge of the blind itself as it comes down. And then we have the guide rail that slots in here, so you can see a slot here that the guide motor or the blind is pulled along, and then the rack in the top there, well, that's going to come down. So we just slide that in there, making sure we've got a nice tight joint at the top, and then at the bottom we just push it in and it clips into that clip at the bottom. And once we've got that clipped in, make sure that we've got, let's say, that flush at the top, and there's just 3 screws down either side. You can see the little countersunk hole here. We just put screws in to hold that rail back in. So once we've fitted those screws, we pull out the plastic clips at the top that held the motors, and we're good to go. All we need to do is just open the window and connect the 24 volt supply into the blind. We've got a choice of how we control that. I'll show how you control it with the wireless remote that comes with the blind as standard, but also how we compare that with a home controller, in my example, Somfy Tahoma Switch. And we're planning to connect via that with our Loxone system later on. The reason for that for us is that we've got Loxone light switches which also have the ability to do blind control, so we want to control everything without having multiple switches on the walls to be able to do that. So once we've got that installed, we just remove the little battery protecting tab from the remote control, and then we should be able to see the blind moving up and down. So that's working beautifully. Now we're not going to use this remote control, so I'm just going to show how we pair this with the Somfy Tahoma Switch application. So let's just look at how easy this is to pair with the Tahoma app. So I've already got some windows and blinds paired up in here. Got the remote control that came with that window. So we just click add equipment. What sort of equipment is it? So it's windows and sun protection, shutters, shades and curtains. So it's shades and curtains. It's an interior roller blind, and the remote control is a wall switch, and it's a Velux switch in my situation. So then it tells us just to press reset on the remote control. So that's the one with the all setup, which is the one with the cog. If you do that, you'll just hear the motor just move very slightly. Click on next, and this will search for the new blind. So it's detected one blind already there, as you can see. Connected that, I can check that it can open and close. You might just hear that in the background. Go to next. I just want to put the name of that in. So it's lounge blind 2 in this situation, and validate that. Which room is it in? It's in the living room in my situation. So I can see now in roller blinds I've got 1 in the hall, 3 in the lounge, 1 more to set up. So very easy to add that into Somfy Tahoma. Within Tahoma itself you can set up all sorts of schedules to open and close at dawn and dusk, sunlight levels, those sorts of things. But we plan to connect this into the Loxone system through the software API that the Tahoma Switch includes. So I hope you found that a useful video. Just one of a series of things, of small jobs that I've done as we've gone through the build to help people. You know, these are one of the things that I looked at. I wasn't quite clear how you got the power to the blind and how simple it was to install. Hopefully you've seen you don't actually need any tools. Super simple thing to install. Just make sure you order the right one for your window size and check whether you've actually got existing motor control and that sort of thing on your window. Thanks to all of you that have clicked like on previous videos and subscribed to follow me. I'm well over 800 people now subscribing and loads of great feedback. So if you've found this video useful, please give me a thumbs up and let me know. If you've got any comments or suggestions on how it could be done better, I'd be very pleased to hear from you. Thanks very much for your time.